Hello, everybody. Welcome to our special holiday week edition of Reserve Seating. We are going to be doing a special holiday mailbag answering your questions and discussing the topics that you submitted to us over Twitter and YouTube. So, thank you to everybody who did that. We really appreciate it. This episode could literally not happen without all of you submitting those questions and topics. So,
Thank you for not making me watch another movie, folks.
yeah, no, seriously. And like I know we joke around a lot, but just to have the opportunity, Rob and I both sincerely wish you happy holidays and we hope that you're all doing well. I right before we started recording, I turned into an emotional mess because somebody posted the clip from Banshees of Inisherin with Barry Keoghan talking to Carrie Condon at the lake. And I was just like, you're in my top 10, buddy.
Oh,
I'm like, whatever shaky position at 10 you had, you're good. You're fine now. Yeah, all right. So our first question, I guess I'll read the first one because it's the only one from our YouTube comments. So I'll do that one
okay.
first. That's from Bumpy Jonas, which I love that name.
Thank you,
Um,
Bumpy Jonas.
any movies you tend to watch around the holidays that isn't a holiday movie? So a lot of it is like franchise stuff. So
Mhm.
like Bond feels right in November. Harry Potter feels right around Thanksgiving or before Christmas. Star Trek always feels right in November.
Yes.
Lord of
Okay,
the
that was
Rings
mine.
always,
Yep.
yeah, Lord of the Rings always feels right in
Yes.
around Christmas break. My two that are not part of a franchise is I watched The Irishman a couple of times around Thanksgiving in 2019, and that kind of has become a tradition where
Mhm.
like it's Thanksgiving. I feel like watching The Irishman. And then also The Majestic. I like watching that around the end of the year because it's so optimistic and it's kind of sends me in a mood that I would like to be in during the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad you said because I wrote down. I wrote down in a notebook in my House Stark notebook, folks.
We're
Um,
notebook boys.
there we go.
Hey,
Notebook boys.
notebook boys.
Maybe we should change
That's
the name of the
that's
show to
that's the
Notebook
name of our
Boys.
podcast about the notebook.
Anything that you can kind of spend your day with, anything that's comfy, that's reassuring, that you can settle into.
Yeah. Like the start of the year is usually like the season where I want to watch 3 hour dramas the most of
Exactly.
any time of year. So I
Exactly.
know what you mean.
Something that I can like step out, like leave, come back.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like go down, get the laundry, come back. I'm watching something. I go in the kitchen, I get something, come back, and like something like The Irishman, like you said, where I'm not going to miss anything or just settle.
Yeah.
All right, our next one comes from our friend Chris Cabalas.
Mhm.
I hope I pronounced that right, Chris. I apologize. He'd like to know our favorite and least favorite holiday movie sequels or remakes.
This one.
All right, so I have a story that goes with this.
Story
I'm
time.
gonna look up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right back. A few years back, this is a shout out to my neighbors, my very good friends, Jared and Chrissy. You've met Jared and Chrissy, Adam.
Of course. They're
Good
great
people, good
people.
friends. They don't
Yeah.
watch the Reserve Seating, but if they are, then hello. So when they first moved in a few years back across the way, I said they knew that I was into movies and all that stuff, and then they would come let them rent movies off the shelf, right?
Mhm.
And I think it was the second year, second Christmas they lived on here. They said, "Hey Rob, can we borrow Home Alone?" And I said,
Mhm.
"You know what? I don't have Home Alone." And they were like, "You don't have Home Alone." So of course, for Christmas that year, they got me Home Alone.
Nice.
Well, then it turns out that they're also big fans of Home Alone 2. So guess what I
As
got
you
the
do.
next year?
Yeah. Okay.
Home Alone 2 next
Very
year.
nice. 25th anniversary edition.
Happy days to Home Alone 2. Happy days to you, my friend.
Mhm.
And then it just became a thing. So this doesn't really answer your question, Chris, but this is the best thing I've got for this question. I also own Home Alone 3.
Mhm.
I own Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House.
Mhm.
And I own Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist, The Return of Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
Um, Inexplicably also starring Malcolm McDowell. Um, so I have all those. I've watched all of them. They're bad for the most part, but this is my holiday tradition. We tried to figure out how to get the Disney Plus one on Blu-ray, but it has not been released yet. So this is what I got for
Yeah.
this is my holiday sequel. So
So all right. He said we could choose remakes to So I have a list. I have a definitive answer for favorite and least favorite. I think favorite would be a remake. It would be Little Women 1994.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite sequel would be Die Hard 2.
Yeah.
Least favorite, and these are the two I want to talk about because I have a real axe to grind with both of them.
Okay.
Least favorite would be runner up would be How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey because
Okay.
it could have been good, but it looks like visual diarrhea and it's
Mhm.
unwatchable. And my least favorite Christmas movie of all time is Scrooged, which I know is beloved,
You've talked about
but
this
I
in the
can't
past.
stand Scrooged because Bill Murray can't get out of his own way and played the material straight. And I know people love Bill Murray's kind of like comedic sensibility, and I like it too in a lot of movies, but that movie cries for sincerity at the end of the third act, and he won't, and it's not like he can't do it, he won't do it.
Yeah.
He's making fun of the movie at the end, and I have no patience for that. All right, our next question comes from Jay Brobeck. Favorite five favorite movies set at any holiday.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I ranked them number five, Independence Day. Number four, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Number three, It's a Wonderful Life. Number two, Die Hard. Number one, Home Alone. Yeah.
Number five for me would be The Apartment. Do we count
Okay.
that? This is New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. Yeah.
And then by the same principle, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah,
Do we
that
count? We can
counts.
count that, right? Because the most famous scene is New
It's
Year's.
on lists for New Year's Eve movies.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely
Um,
count it.
and then I would go The Lion in Winter, which is my favorite Christmas movie. Peter
Mhm.
O'Toole, Katharine Hepburn. That takes place at Christmas. And then I already mentioned Eyes Wide Shut. I would go Eyes Wide Shut, which takes place at Christmas. And then my favorite movie is Jaws. Jaws is Fourth of July. So
Oh yeah.
I would
Yeah,
take
Jaws
that.
should be in my top five. Sorry, Independence Day.
Our next one comes from Jeremy Doucette. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry, guys. Movies that would have been better as a Christmas movie. And you have one for this, Adam.
I have a few. All right. I always thought that it made sense for them to set a Nightmare on Elm Street movie on Christmas.
That would have been cool.
Specifically a child who's 13 years old, still a teenager, can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Still believes in Santa, wants to go to sleep so Santa shows up,
Oh, I
but
like
can't
this.
because Freddy will show up.
Yeah, Freddy will show up. Wow. What
Yeah.
are we calling it?
Home Sweet Elm Street Alone. I don't know. A Nightmare.
A workshop.
I think Scream 2022 could
Mm,
have benefited from like a winter break, like Scream winter break.
okay.
You're in high school, they go on winter break.
Winter break sounds good. Yeah, I mean anything could have.
A Knives Out Christmas.
Yeah, that's what was on my list was a Benoit Blanc movie. Feels like
Yeah,
there's got to be one in the pipeline somewhere.
yeah. Jackass Christmas,
There you go.
and then Clerks 3 should have been an It's a Wonderful Life thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. But instead, they chose something else.
I forgot that movie came out this year.
Our next question comes from Miko.
Hey, Miko.
Hey, Miko. So he asked, make a holiday movie, it has a decent budget. The criteria is you cast Kristen Stewart, Ben Affleck, Al Pacino, and Taylor Swift. The question being, what should the plot be? Who else do you cast? Who do you hire to direct, or do you direct it yourselves?
Now, let me say real quick, Miko, because it feels like maybe you tilted in my direction with this cast, and I appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
But this is an Adam risky question. This is a question that is so much more in Adam's wheelhouse. So I will help Adam, but the germ of this is all his.
Well, okay, so the cast is for you.
Right.
The pitch is for me because I sort of ignored the cast.
Okay, that works.
I was just like, I'll make it work. I don't know how I'll make it work, but I'll make it work.
Got it.
So my pitch is I was like, I really want Frank Darabont to come back.
Sure.
So I was like, well, what would be a natural, easy fit for him? Another Stephen King adaptation. So I reverse engineered it. I typed in Google Stephen King Christmas books. I noticed that the short story from different seasons called The Breathing Method. It's a novella.
Wow, we're adapting something. This is wonderful. Go ahead.
Yeah, is the only one that hasn't had a film adaptation.
Okay.
So let's finish it up. So we have Shawshank, we have Apt Pupil, we have Stand By Me. So we do The Breathing Method, which takes place around Christmas. We
Okay.
have it starring Affleck, Stewart, Pacino, and Swift.
Okay.
We add Darabont Stock Company to the cast, so like Laurie Holden, William Sadler, Jeffrey DeMunn. And I noticed that in 2019, apparently Scott Derrickson acquired the rights. So we need to fucking get him out of the picture.
Yeah. No offense, Scott, but
No offense, Scott Derrickson, but you're no Frank Darabont in my eyes.
and I feel like
And
Scott would say he's no Frank Darabont.
we need to buy you out. I'm sorry. That'll
Yeah.
be your Christmas present from me to you.
We will buy
I'm
them.
buying you out of the
100%.
breathing method. Okay, so next question comes from Jackson. So he asked us to rank. This is one of my favorites. I love this one. Rank the 1997 Christmas Day releases. So the choices are Amistad, As Good as It Gets, An American Werewolf in Paris, Mr. Magoo, The Education of Little Tree, Kundun, Wag the Dog, The Postman, and Jackie Brown. So I'll let you go first.
Remember when they like would put movies like this out in the theater?
Yeah, no, they were like, yeah, the people are off work, off school. Let's flood the marketplace with movies.
Yep.
They're gonna have 3 weeks to themselves, and this year it's just like, I don't know, Puss in Boots, Whitney Houston.
I am going to tell you
Okay,
that I have not seen The Education of Little Tree.
neither have I.
So with that one off, Jackie Brown for me would be number one, which I know is a kind of a whatever answer. Wag the Dog for me would be second. The Postman would be number three. Now that's based on the one time that I saw The Postman around the time it came out. I have not rewatched it since.
Mhm.
I would go As Good as It Gets next,
Okay,
and then everything else would be a mix. I have not seen Kundun, Magoo, Werewolf in Paris, or Amistad recently enough to really remember much of anything about them.
okay. So I've seen 4 of the 9. You
Okay.
really kind of found a blind spot for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I'll first rank the 5 I haven't seen in order of how likely I am to watch them.
There you go.
Kundun is the most likely because it's one of the few remaining Scorsese's I haven't
Yeah,
seen.
it's good.
Amistad would be second for the same reason because I haven't seen that one. Mr. Magoo would be third. Wag the Dog would be 4 just because I feel like I missed the boat on that one.
I don't think you'd like Wag the Dog, but I want you to watch it. Go ahead.
Okay. And then 5 would be Education of Little Tree. I just don't know really much about it.
No.
The 4 that I have seen, I would say Jackie Brown is by far my favorite.
Sure.
As
Yep.
Good as It Gets would be second, although I haven't seen it in 20 years or more. The Postman would be 3, and then An American Werewolf in Paris is a distant 4.
Distant. All right, next one comes from our friend Brian. He says top 3 or more Christmas/holiday horror films.
Mhm.
And mine are about as basic as it gets. I wrote down
Yeah.
Krampus.
Okay.
What is the word on the dirty cut of Krampus? I have yet to see it.
I haven't
Is that
seen
what
it
it's
either.
called? The
I
dirty
just saw
cut
I saw it in theaters. That's it.
Nicely cut. And then Gremlins. I mean, whatever. But then the other one for me, more recent, is Anna and the Apocalypse, which I feel like a lot of people have put on their list in the last couple of years. I really enjoyed Anna and the Apocalypse. I watched it. I actually watched it at Christmas it came out, and then I watched it again last Christmas. And I like that one a lot. But I know mine are very straightforward. How about you, bud?
So Gremlins was like tied for 3, so I'm gonna remove that because we have it represented.
There you go.
So for 3, I'm gonna say New Year's Evil, which is really good, like sleazy
Okay, I've never seen it.
exploitation horror. Number 2 is Christmas Evil, which is amazing and has one of the best endings I've ever seen in a movie.
Not seen that one either.
And then number 1 is 1974 Black Christmas.
Okay. I saw
Subject
this.
of an infamously bad F This Movie podcast.
Yeah. I saw this question and I was like, oh, mine are going to be terrible and Adam's are going to be good.
And then last but not least, our question comes from Sean. In honor of Joe Pesci with Home Alone and Goodfellas in 1990, What is the greatest combination of movies in one calendar year? Once I got going on this one, like I couldn't stop.
Yeah,
There's so many.
this is again same with Miko's question, where this is like I looked through like 3 or 4 actors, and I was like trying to do it, but this is an Adam question all the way. So go ahead, bud.
So I've got like 7
Yeah,
answers.
I knew you would.
So like Matt Damon, you could say Rainmaker, Good Will Hunting.
Hmm.
DiCaprio, you could go Catch Me If You Can, and Gangs of New York.
2002, right?
Yeah, 2002. Tom Cruise had Mission Impossible and Jerry Maguire.
What was Magnolia?
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut and Magnolia were
That's
both
why Shut Magnolia
99.
were both 99, right?
Yeah, yeah. So he had a couple of those.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Point Break.
Endpoint, yeah.
That was like on subsequent weeks. It was crazy. I'm not a huge fan of the first one, but Jennifer Lawrence for Hunger Games and Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks has tons of these,
I was
like
gonna say
Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, Saving Private Ryan, You've Got Mail, Apollo 13, Toy Story, Road to Perdition, Catch Me If You Can.
okay. At first, I thought they were all the same year. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh no, no, no. Only Bruce Willis did that many
What
movies
was
in
the
one.
Apollo? What was the other one for Apollo 13?
Toy Story.
Toy Story. They were both 95.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then if you want to go directors, Spielberg has a bunch of years like this too, where it's like Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, stuff like that. All right. So next week we will be back with Rob and my choices for our most anticipated movies of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go back and watch the video from last year to make sure I'm not picking stuff that just got delayed.
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick is off the board.
All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for these questions. Happy
Yes.
holidays to everybody. We will see you next week. Until next time.
Oh, your seasonal seats are reserved.